So Luke records on the day of Pentecost, 120 disciples are baptized with the Spirit, filled with the Spirit, miracle of the mind, speaking in foreign languages, burst out of the room, 120 of them in the streets of Jerusalem, speaking in foreign languages. Jerusalem is packed with thousands of people because of the festival. They hear the sound of all of these languages. A large crowd of thousands of people gather around the first church. 120 of them, they are shocked. We hear them speaking the wonders of God in our own language, and they are amazed. All are amazed. Some are perplexed. They say, what does this mean? But others mock and said, these men are filled with new wine. So they hear the miracle. All are amazed. Hundreds in that crowd said, man, these Galileans, they must be drunk. All that babble coming out their mouth, they are full of new wine. But Peter, standing with the 11, lifted up his voice and addressed them. Stop. Notice who responded to the crowd. Peter, the same young man who followed Jesus for 3.5 years and had a mouth that said, Lord, wherever you go, I will go. And I am prepared to die for you if you die. But when Christ is in a jam at the end of his life, he's being headed to be executed, led out of the Garden of Eden. Where is Garden of Gethsemane? Where is Peter then? Peter now, this young man, afraid, the Lord prophesies to him, before this night is over, you will deny me 3 times. Peter thinks that's never gonna happen. Peter now is in the street. He gets jammed up by a little girl in the street who hears his accent. Said, this man was with Jesus. No, I don't know him. He gets jammed up a second time. Yo, you was with Jesus. Nah, I don't know him. We saw you. You was with that dude they about to crucify. I don't know him. 3 times Peter denies Jesus the night before he's crucified. Peter feels the guilt of that. He runs out of that city. Watch. He's so guilty in his heart because of his betrayal, he abandons the ministry, goes back to being a fisherman. He sees himself as unworthy to follow after Christ. But history tells us Jesus, I love this part, after he's raised, finds Peter on a seashore. Walks up to him on the seashore of Galilee and looks him in his eyes. Peter, do you love me? He says, feed my lambs, which is a baby sheep. He talks about the little disciples first. That's why we should care about children's ministry and formation. We do all of this for adults. Nobody cares about those little kids. Peter, do you love me? Feed my lambs. Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. Adults, Peter, do you love me? Tend my sheep. He's prophesying to him that you will be the pastor of the first church. Now, Jesus never reminded Peter of his mistake. Okay. But what he does when he rolls up on Peter on the seashore, watch this word, he restores him back to fellowship, back to the ministry. Dust off your pain, your shame, and your hurt. We got work to do. We got a world to change. I only point this out in the text. The person who's talking first, to remind every person under the sound of my voice, like me, who has made mistakes, who has failed God, who has fallen, who has had bad seasons and felt like you was unusable because of your mistakes. The devil is a liar. Come on, man. I want to remind somebody who feels crushed under the weight of self-condemnation and guilt and shame, or because of your past, you feel like God can't use somebody like you, or he can't use a dude from Queens, New York, a knucklehead from the street. No, but if God finds a humble and contrite heart, man, he can restore anybody. I said anybody. Listen to me, you have not outsinned his grace. You You have not outsinned his grace. There is nothing you have done that is stronger than the blood. If your sin was stronger than the blood, the cross was not enough. But the cross is enough. And from the cross, he's able through grace to restore you back to fellowship again. It doesn't matter how far you have gone, how many mistakes you have made, or how much you condemn yourself. You have not outsinned his grace. If he can restore Peter, he can restore you. I'm talking from my own pain. He restored me. When I failed him early in my walk, when I let him down, when I fell, when I turned away from him, he restored me. This ministry I have right now is called a second chance. That's why I don't play games. They can talk trash about me all they want, don't know me. You know why I don't play games? This is called a second chance. And only a fool does not make good with their second chance. So Peter stands up, he is restored. But watch what else he does. He hears the mockery of the Spirit and he chooses not to remain silent. The reason this means nothing to you because you are desensitized by the things you have seen in the paintings of the disciples. You've seen the disciples painted with gray hair and long beards, and so you think he's a grown man. He should have courage. You have not read the scriptures right. Jesus was 30 when he started his ministry. As a Jewish rabbi, the men he would have called would have been teenagers or 20-year-olds. That means Peter was a young man, probably no older than 21 or 22. In America, the number one fear in the country, death. The number two fear, public speaking. And yet there is a crowd, thousands of people, and this little boy, not an old man, a young man, hears the mockery of God and chooses not to remain silent. He says, somebody must say something about this. And the scripture says, but Peter, means he refused to remain. He stood up to say something. I wish we had the spirit of Peter would fall on the church in America. Man, we suck. I don't care. We live in a culture and a generation that has no respect for God, no respect for the church, no respect for Jesus, and the people he sent here to be a witness for him. We have no courage at all. So we will not stand up, we will not say anything. We let people try. We won't post a scripture, we won't speak, we won't talk to the Uber driver. Come on, man. The Lord ain't sending no angels down here to do that work. He sent the church down here to do that work. And we got to get fed up with ideologies and policies and everything that's trying to silence the church and change biblical laws and all these things. We got to care about that stuff. This is me saying you will not change the definition of marriage on my watch. I'll pray you out and vote you out. You will not let kids remain confused in gender and tell them they can mutilate themselves. I'll pray you out and vote you out. See, you don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that. We're so soft. You will not be louder than me with your false religion when we serve the only true God. You will not have more discipline than me. You will not be more sold out than me. You will not be more passionate than me. How we got people serve more false gods with more passion than the people of God who serve the true and living God? Won't post, won't vote right, won't pray, won't take a stand, won't say anything, won't say at the family barbecue. No, we will not remain silent. We will not. What you trying to protect? Look at me. We're trying to protect your reputation, You're trying to protect your platform. You're trying to protect things Peter says in his letters is gonna burn up anyway. Let me help some of you stop being cowards. Let me help unchain you from being addicted to approval of people. We're trying to protect things that's gonna burn up anyway.